All right, let's have a little look. I think we might be live, ladies. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you're watching me today. I'm just going to do a quick little tech check and make sure that we are in fact live, to make sure that the audio is working, etc., etc. If you can see me and if you can hear me, comment hello down below. Let's have a look. Okay, so we're live. We can hear me. Fantastic. All right, ladies. So as you can tell by the title of this week's masterclass, what causes weight fluctuations and how to heal your relationship with the scales. Okay. Now, if you're watching me live, please do comment live down below. Or if you're watching me on the replay, like 99% of you ladies probably will be, please do comment replay down below. If you've got any questions throughout this masterclass, whether you watch it on the replay or live, please do comment those down below. Okay, I don't want you ladies leaving any more confused than when you came, of course. So any questions, there's no such thing as a bad question, a silly question. That doesn't exist here, ladies. Any questions, any concerns, please do just comment those down below. Okay. Good morning, Margie. I hope you're well. Hope you're having a fantastic week. All right. So let's get into it then. This week I've decided to do something a little bit different, and this isn't completely new, but what I've done is I've created a presentation. So as you ladies know, these weekly masterclasses are literally done off the top of my head. Yeah, every now and then I have some notes, but they are done off the top of my head, just off my base knowledge. Okay, now that's great. I enjoy doing that a lot because it's literally just like I'm talking to you ladies, having a conversation with you ladies, as if you're kind of sat in front of me. However, that does have its cons too. You know, sometimes I forget things. You know, sometimes things get missed out. And I know that some of you ladies will probably appreciate having something a little bit more visible, of course. I think that's the right word. Yeah, a little bit more visible. So, again, let's get into it. Here's what we're going to cover today. What causes weight fluctuations? What can we do about these fluctuations? And how to heal your relationship with the scales. So, understanding the scales. Understanding the scales is incredibly important. The scales alone are a huge reason behind diet failure and why ladies quit. And the sad part is that really gets to me is the fact that most of the time you ladies are quitting because you don't think you're seeing progress in terms of fat loss or progress whatsoever, when in reality you are. Okay, picture this scenario. It's been 10 days. You've done everything how you're supposed to. Nutrition and diet has been spot on. Maybe you've been making an effort to move more, but the scales won't budge. They either stay the same, they're higher, or you lost 2 pounds and then regained it again 2 days later. As a result, you throw in the towel, you quit. Another failed attempt at trying to lose weight. Now, this is the exact scenario that this week's masterclass is going to allow you to avoid. Okay? This is the scenario that we are aiming. This week's masterclass is going to allow you to avoid. Now, the overarching principle. If you are in a calorie deficit, consuming less calories than what your body expends, then it is physically impossible for any weight gain to be body fat. Okay? Remember this. This is incredibly important. I'm going to read through it again. If you are in a calorie deficit, consuming less calories than what your body expends, then it is physically impossible for any weight gain to be body fat. So, again, what causes these weight fluctuations? If you weigh yourself every day for a week, you will see fluctuations anywhere between 1 to 5 pounds plus, depending on your current weight. Typically, the more you weigh, the wider the fluctuations can get. The most common contributor to these fluctuations in body weight is varying levels of water within our body. Okay, this water comes from sodium within your diet, varying levels of hydration, glycogen stores, and hormones, especially during the luteal phase of your menstrual cycles. Okay, so again, if you used to step on the scales every day this week, you will see giant fluctuations, anywhere between 1 to 5 pounds plus. These fluctuations are just water. Daily fluctuations on the scale is water. Okay, for you to gain 1 pound of body fat in 24 hours, you would have to overconsume 3,500 calories. That means consuming 3,500 calories more than what your body expends. For a lot of you ladies, that would be anywhere between 5,000 and 6,500 calories. Okay, for many of you, that would be 5,000 to 6,500 calories in one day to gain 1 pound of body fat. And if you are in a calorie deficit, remember, it's physically impossible to gain any body fat whatsoever. So any fluctuations, daily fluctuations that you see on the scales is just water from mostly sodium within your diet, varying levels of hydration, glycogen stores, and of course, hormones. So let's go into each one of these a little bit further. Let's start with sodium. If you step on the scales and notice that you've gained some weight, check your sodium intake from over the last few, 1 to 3 days. This is obviously if you're tracking what you eat. I know not everyone does, but you can simply think back of what you've eaten. Things like takeout, Chinese food, pickles, anything like that. Things that contain a lot of sodium. If it's been higher than 2,500 milligrams a day, then that could absolutely be a contributor towards these weight fluctuations that you're seeing. Now, should you become obsessed with tracking your sodium? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But simply be aware that if your sodium is higher, it will likely cause an increase in body weight. Okay? Let me make this a bit bigger, like that. That'll be a bit better, won't it, ladies? So, where were we? Getting distracted. Remember, it's just water and it will soon disappear again. Your sodium intake is nothing to give too much attention to, but instead, just be aware and know. Okay, just be aware and know. It can absolutely cause several pounds worth of water fluctuations on the scale. Okay, good morning, Charlene. I hope you're well. Next, varying levels of hydration. Every day you consume different amounts of water, and every day you expend different levels of water from your body. For instance, you might be more active today or less active. It might be warmer today than it was yesterday. There's tons of different variables. So with this comes varying levels of hydration within your body. And up to 55% of the female human body is water. For men, that's more like 60%. For women, it's up to 55% of your body is water. And the reason why that's lower is because typically women have less muscle mass. Okay, so of course, with these varying levels of hydration comes fluctuations in body weight. Again, not something to obsess about, but instead to be aware and know. Drinking your goal amount of water every day is the only thing you should worry about here, other than just being aware and knowing. So far, gone through sodium, we've gone through varying levels of hydration. Next, glycogen stores. So carbs are stored in your muscle tissue and in your liver as glycogen. Carbs are not stored as fat. This is one big myth. Carbs are not stored as fat. That is not how the body works. Okay? Carbs are stored in your muscle tissue and liver as glycogen. It is only when these stores are fully saturated, they're full, that carbs you eat are stored as fat. And none of you ladies will ever hit that threshold. But even if you did, let's say you did hit that threshold and you did fully saturate your glycogen stores, any body fat that you stored from carbs would not even be visible on the scales. Okay? Now, for every 1 gram of glycogen, you store another 3 gram of water with it. Okay? So for every 1 gram of glycogen, you store another 3 gram of water from carbs. As your glycogen stores fluctuate based upon the amount of carbs you consume, your level of activity, so do your glycogen stores, water, and with it, body weight. So if you ladies followed keto for a week, you would lose a lot of weight very quickly. The weight that you lose, 90% of it will be water weight because you are depleting your glycogen stores because you are not eating carbs. As soon as you go back to eating normally again, you are going to refill those glycogen stores, resaturate those glycogen stores, and regain that water weight. Okay? If you had today, if you went out and had a lot of carbs, let's say you had 400 grams of carbs today. If you step on the scales tomorrow, you will weigh more as a result of glycogen and the water with it. Now, there's not an awful lot you can do about this other than to, of course, adhere to your daily carb goals. The rest is out of your control and not worth worrying about. You will never, ever, ever be in control of your glycogen stores. Because there are so many variables, so many things using and filling those glycogen stores throughout the day. It is impossible to keep track of. Don't worry about it. Just be aware. Increasing carbs can cause water weight. Decreasing carbs can cause weight loss. Daily fluctuations on the scales can be caused by glycogen. Okay? Carbs. Now, last but not least, hormones. So, your hormones can cause large increases in water retention and then for body weight. More commonly during your menstrual cycle, or specifically the luteal phase, which is the final 2 weeks of your menstrual cycle. During this time of the month, you can expect anywhere between 1 to 5 pounds of weight gain. In the past, I have seen upwards of 9 pounds of weight gain, just water, as a result of these fluctuations in hormones because of the menstrual cycle. And this is completely out of your control. Completely out of your control. Now, the menstrual cycle is just one example. Hormones are fluctuating on a daily basis and are going to continue whether you are menopausal, premenopausal. Hormones are still going to have an influence on water weight, and therefore your body weight through water. Okay? Now, if this makes complete sense, please do comment makes sense down below. Okay? If the sodium, varying levels of hydration, glycogen, and hormones, if all of this so far makes complete sense, comment makes sense down below. Okay? If I don't see that, of course, I'm going to assume that it doesn't. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Any questions, comment down below. That's what I am here for. As you ladies know, I do these masterclasses to help you. I don't want you to leave any more confused than when you came. So please do comment any questions, any concerns down below. Margie, makes sense. Fantastic. Shelley, good morning. Erica, good morning. Hope you're having a fantastic week, ladies. All right. Nice. So let's move on. What can we do about these fluctuations? Simply be aware and know. That's it. Control what you can control. Don't obsess and forget about the rest. It's just water. Your checklist for diagnosing weight gain is as follows. Is it fat? Is it body fat? To answer this question, assess your calorie intake. Unless you've overconsumed calories, it can only be one thing, and that's water. Okay. Now, of course, there are other things that influence our body weight, things like muscle, for instance. However, muscle takes a long time to be built. Muscle gain is never going to you are never going to gain muscle quicker than you can lose weight. Okay, it can take you several months to gain 1 pound of muscle. Several months to gain 1 pound of muscle. Most of you ladies can lose 1 to 2 pounds of fat a week. Okay. So back to the checklist. Is it fat? To answer this question, assess your calorie intake. Unless you've overconsumed calories, it can only be one thing, and that's water. Now, where has the water come from? Has it been sodium? Has it been varying levels of hydration? Has it been glycogen stores? Has it been hormones? Chances are it will be a combination of a few, if not all of them. There are other areas too, but these are the most common contributors to water retention and therefore fluctuations on the scales. Of course, things like not going to the loo can cause increases in body weight too. You know, if you're having issues with, going to the loo, constipation, digestion, and let's say you haven't been to the toilet for 2-3 days, that can cause a backlog, of course, and that can cause weight gain too. Now, the overarching rule, which we've already covered, is if calories are on target, calorie deficit, it can only be one thing, and that's water. Even if you're struggling to diagnose where from, simply be aware and know. Now, how to heal your relationship with the scales. Now, the ladies that I work with, we of course work together one-to-one on these things. So I'm able to understand more about their past and their current understanding for me to be able to help them with healing their relationship with the scales. It is individual and specific to each person. The reasoning behind, anxiety around the scales can be completely different. Okay, the catalyst, the core, where it came from can be completely different. Okay, now again, the ladies that I work with to help them with this is normally through one-to-one coaching. However, we can still address it here. Now, this isn't a one and done process. This is going to take constant work and a commitment from you. This isn't a light switch moment where the next 3 slides are going to heal your relationship with the scales forever. It's going to take some work. First of all, understand the scales. We've done a good job of covering that already. We've covered everything that you need to know about the scales. Realize and remind yourself that your progress is not dictated by the scales. The scales are terrible at tracking fat loss short term. You can lose, sorry ladies, you can lose anywhere between 1 to 2 pounds of body fat per week. Most of you ladies, some of you might lose a little bit more, but 1 to 2 pounds per week. You can fluctuate 2 pounds of water overnight. So you can see how that fat loss that takes you a week can be masked by water weight from any of these areas that we just went through. You can do absolutely everything right, absolutely everything correct for anywhere up to 2 weeks, and the scales might still not show the fat loss progress that you are making. In 2 weeks, you might lose 3 pounds of body fat. Awesome. You can fluctuate 3 to 5 pounds of water weight overnight. So it is very easy for that to get masked, for that fat loss to get masked amongst the water weight. Okay, that's what I mean when I say the scales are terrible at tracking fat loss short term. Across a month, they're awesome, but short term, no good. Okay, does that make sense, ladies? Comment a 1 down below if that makes complete sense. Okay, 1 down below. And always remember, there are lots of other signs of progress, at which you should be tracking, like your personal growth. What have you learned about the last few times that you fell off the wagon? The better habits that you have throughout this period. Are you more organized and prepared? For instance, writing that shopping list and going grocery shopping. Have you been sleeping better? Are you forming a better relationship with food? Are you learning more about the process? Are you more active now? Are your blood sugars coming down? Progress photos, body measurements. These things are so important. How do you feel? Do you have a more positive mood because of the focus that you've placed on you? Do you have more energy? Are everyday tasks getting easier? Are you no longer needing to take an afternoon nap? These are all things that can be happening that have got nothing to do with the scales, which are even more important than the scales on a weekly basis. These other signs of progress, plus so many more, are things that we need to be aware of, because these things can happen regardless of the scales. Like we said, your personal growth and all these reasons below. How do you feel? Moving on from that. Your worth is not dictated by the scales. Your worth is not dictated by the number on the scales. Remind yourself constantly, every day. We've got to unwind the brainwashing that's happened over the last few decades. Because, we open the newspaper and it's all about pounds lost. We go to Weight Watchers and all they care about is pounds lost. We've built this massive culture around the only thing that mattering is pounds lost. It doesn't. That's the end goal, yes. But on a daily, weekly basis, it's not. Because there is no reliable way of tracking weight loss on a daily basis. Like I said, this isn't a one and done process. It takes time and a commitment from you. The scales are a roller coaster ride. The key is making sure that your emotions aren't a part of that ride. It's just data. That's it. So, mistakes to avoid. Stepping on the scale every day, letting it dictate your results. There's far more things to track than just the number on the scales. Other signs of progress. The scales do not dictate your progress short term, because they're going to be fluctuating all the time because of the reasons that we've gone through. Stepping on the scale every day, letting it dictate your worth. This is going to take constant reminding over the next few weeks and months and beyond. Due to water weight, the scales do a terrible job of tracking fat loss short term. Remember this. Instead, use other signs of progress like how you feel, how your clothes fit, progress pictures, measurements, and all those other tens of reasons that we went through. All right, ladies? I hope you found this helpful. We've gone through, in the most detail that you ladies, kind of need in order to move forwards. We've gone through, understanding the scales in great depth. Everything you need to know. Now, you might need to go back through and take some notes. Okay, that would probably be very helpful. You might want to, come back to this, once a month just to remind yourself. But this is always going to be here inside the group. All right, it's always going to be here inside the group, of course. Now, like I said, most of what we've gone through here with, especially improving your relationship with the scale emotionally, a lot of that takes one-to-one coaching, me understanding lots about the person that I'm trying to help. Now, you hear me say all the time that weight gain and type 2 diabetes is a symptom of our lifestyle, habits, and beliefs. Okay. And your relationship with the scales, understanding the scales, comes under your beliefs. You can see how today, not understanding the scales and having a broken relationship with the scales can lead to you not losing weight, not lowering your A1C, not getting off meds, because of how often it can lead to diet failure, quitting, because of not understanding the things that we've gone through here today. All right. We've got lots of ones, makes sense, fantastic. To wrap it up, if this has been helpful, comment helpful down below. Okay, most of you ladies are going to be watching this on the replay. I want to hear some noise. Let me know down below if it was helpful. There's a couple of you ladies, there's a handful of you ladies watching right now live too. So let me know down below if it was helpful. If you ladies would like to, book in just for a brief chat, just so I can give you some tailored advice based on the things that we've spoken about here, but as well as that, just anything else, so I can give you some tailored advice based on, things that you struggle with, your current obstacles, then comment coaching down below and we can find a time that suits both of us. But that really is just a chat. If you want to take advantage of that, please do comment coaching down below. That way we can get to know each other a little bit further and I can try my best in finding a solution to the problems that you are facing, of course. I'll speak to you ladies very, very soon. This is something that we have been doing every week, these masterclasses for a long time. It's something that we're going to continue doing for the foreseeable future. The reason why we did this masterclass this week is because you ladies asked for it last week. Now, if there's any other topics that you ladies would like to see me cover, then of course, comment those down below so that I can, make note of that, so I can add it to the list of masterclasses that are in future production, I guess you could say. All right, I do these to help you ladies. So, of course, what better way other than to ask you ladies what you want? All right. Have a fantastic Wednesday or whatever day it is that you're watching me. And I'll speak to you ladies very, very soon. Take care.